Duran and Cawthorn, Price LeBlanc Toyota of Acadiana, and Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen welcome you to this KLFY News 10 special presentation honoring Black history. Here is Renee Allen.
Hello, Acadiana, and I thank you for joining us. These two women have become trailblazers at the Lafayette Fire Department as the first Black female fire inspector and the first Black female communications chief. News 10's Rodrika Taylor spoke with them about their accomplishments.
We do education with the kids as far as teaching them what to do in the event of a fire, how to get out of the house. And so I started watching those programs, and I just thought it was interesting, and it just made me look at fire service in other ways.
Tanya Green says she first started as a communications officer with the fire department. She worked in it for 12 years, but felt her calling was in fire prevention.
In fire prevention, we are proactive, so we're teaching how to prevent fires and what to do in the event that something happens. We inspect buildings, new construction, to make sure that it's safe for the customers to operate the business.
Breaking the glass ceilings of being the first female fire inspector, Green stands proud of that accomplishment.
Breaking glass ceilings, regardless of race, we're still doing that, but in this time, sometimes it just seems like we're going backwards, but we still have to look forward and continue to strive and make our presence known.
Antoinette Gerald is another woman leading in the fire industry as the first female fire communication chief.
I like to say that communications is the heartbeat of the fire department because nothing happens until we make it happen.
Supervising 12 dispatchers, Gerald says they dispatch for Lafayette Parish, including Lafayette and the surrounding towns.
We average 13,000 calls a year, and we take calls, all emergency calls, and we dispatch the units that's going.
Joining the fire department in 1997, she was first a firefighter, then went into the communications division in 2005. An opportunity to become the chief communication officer came in May of 2021. When the previous chief retired. Gerald says that her history of serving 7 years in the Army, jobs where she's a public servant, serves her best.
When I came on, we were 4, but it's not something that Black females actually do. So for me to make it this far, it just shows that we could do it.
Rodrika Taylor, KLFY, News 10.
From two service women to the legacy of a serviceman, Mr. Earl Guidry was one of the first 2 African-American officers on the Rain Police Force, paving the way for those who followed. Last year, I sat down with him before his passing for a 90-plus segment. At the time, he was 100 years old. Let's look back at our conversation in his memory.
I drive, I cook, I wash, fold clothes, everything my wife used to do, I'm doing it now.
This is Earl Guidry of Rain. He's 100 years old and proud of it.
My health is pretty good, and I sleep well.
He's also up on technology, including the cell phone. Excuse him for a minute.
My son, excuse me, my son. Hello?
Hey, Pop.
All right, how are you?
Earl says he can even still kick up some dust if he has to, of course, depending on the situation.
I don't run, though, but I can run, believe me, lady. If a fella is behind me with a ice pick or a knife, I can outrun. Well, according to how young he'd be, you know, but I can outrun him.
Over the course of his 100 years of life, he did field work when he was younger. He worked in the rice field. He's a former Rain police officer of nearly 30 years.
That's why I'm still there. God helped me now for what I've done to other people. I helped them people would fight and things, and then I would get them and bring them to the police station and set them down and talk to them.
Earl now lives his life enjoying his family, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. He married his wife when he was 25 years old. Earl explains that God gave him 100 years of life to enjoy, and for that he's forever grateful.
God knows what we do and what we think. God knows it. And that's why I'm still here, because God helps me. That's why I'm still here. God helps me. And I know he helped me.
Renee Allen, KLFY, News 10. Mr. Guidry passed away November 18th, 2024. He was 101 years old. Up next, we meet a woman described as strong, multifaceted, and multi-talented, and is considered a pillar of her community. She's a longtime Acadia Parish educator and pillar of her community who's described as a strong, multi-talented, and multifaceted woman. News 10 anchor Darla Montgomery introducing us to Dr. Izora Proctor.
I'm from Eunice, Louisiana.
Meet Dr. Izora Proctor.
We were very, very poor, but we didn't know we were poor. We didn't know we were poor because we always had a lot to eat, and we always had a lot of love in the family.
Dr. Proctor, much like the women in the movie Hidden Figures, based on their real-life accomplishments, grew up during segregation, was educated and sophisticated. These women not only looked the part, they were the part, most coming from humble beginnings, just like Dr. Proctor.
My dad worked at a sawmill, my brother's sawmill, and my mother was a cook in a cafe. And we were 9 in the family.
Dr. Proctor says her parents did everything in their power to help their children succeed, and she would learn even more from the community that surrounded her, like a village raising the children.
I really didn't know what I wanted to do in life after high school. However, one of my teachers told my mother that I was too smart just to hang around Eunice. I needed to go to college.
Tough as it was, her parents found a way to send them all to college. When Dr. Proctor graduated from high school, her mother knew exactly what to do.
So my mother said, college, we don't have any money to send her to college. So my mother took me to the bank and told the banker there that I needed to go to college, and she needed to borrow some money for me to go to college. And so he said, well, all right, Miss Mady, how much do you need?
Dr. Proctor says she had to live with a family and work as their nanny because her parents could only pay for her education at Grambling State University. It was an arduous schedule.
I was the nanny and the housekeeper for those individuals, and I had to schedule all of my classes around those people. That is, what time the children got out of nursery school, I had to be through with my classes because I had to pick those kids up, and we walked home. And then I had to cook.
But Dr. Proctor was determined to succeed.
I finished, graduated from Grambling, and I was the first person in my family to go to college.
The longtime Acadia Parish educator did that and more. She holds several degrees, served on numerous boards, and continues to give generously to her community. She attributes her success to the greatness around her, including one of the most memorable moments of her life.
I did march with Dr. King and Jesse Jackson and all, and then, you know, that fear kind of subsided for a while. And then as I talked to them and was surrounding myself with them in Chicago, they just put a lot of confidence in me that we're going to overcome this.
And much like the light that emanated from leaders like Dr. King, many say Dr. Proctor is that same light for her community.
I'm really standing on the shoulders of so many people. So many people have made investments in me. So many people have just spoken the words that I needed at that time. You can make it. Don't worry about it. it's going to be all right. And then my mom and my dad instilled those things into all of their 7 children, that greatness lies within you.
Darla Montgomery, KLFY News 10.
A Lafayette native served in the only all-black, all-female unit of the U.S. Women's Army Corps during World War II. We hear her story. That's after the break. Welcome back. In World War II, a battalion comprised of over 600 African-American women who were sent overseas on a mission to put the mailing system back in order. It's a story that many were unaware of until the past 2 years, and now one of the last surviving members of that battalion, Fannie McClendon, is witnessing her story be told in the new Netflix movie, The 6888. News 10's Zhang Ho talks to McClendon's niece, who is from Lafayette, about preserving her name and preserving the memory of the battalion's mission.
In Europe during World War II, the mail system backlog reached over 2 years, meaning U.S. soldiers were not receiving or able to send mail to and from their loved ones back home. When no one was able to get the mail system back on track, the military called on the 6888, a unit consisting entirely of black women, to head to London and get to work.
We have been ordered to provide hope. The soldiers have not heard from their loved ones, and their loved ones have not heard from them.
And they sent them overseas in horrible conditions and gave them 6 months to get everything up to date. They did it in 3 months.
Diane Mouton Allen is the niece of one of the last surviving members of the battalion, Fannie Griffin McClendon, and says her Aunt Fannie didn't share much about her experience in the war until 2 years ago when the 6888 received a Congressional Gold Medal. With their story finally making its way into the public eye, it caught the attention of Hollywood legend Tyler Perry. Perry is now bringing their story to screens around the world in his new film, The 6888. It's a film that means so much to the now 104-year-old McClendon and the rest of her family. Allen shares her feelings of gratitude as her Aunt Fannie's name will now live on through the film forever.
It's extremely important to me because I've been noticing a lot of stories, things that are being shared now that I truly appreciate, like for instance the movie Hidden Figures, and this is another story yet untold that Tyler Perry is going to share with us, and that these wonderful women in DC got together and said, this is important, people need to know about these women, and we're going to make sure that the story is told.
He played football at Grambling, became a clergyman, and served his country in World War II from the beaches of Normandy to the Rhineland, where he was hit with shrapnel. Maria Elena Belores caught up with the D-Day veteran.
Amazed in grace, how sweet the sound.
That was the hymn that came to Reverend Arlester Brown in June of 2023, the first time he had been back to Normandy since World War II.
When we came to the graveyard of Normandy, and I saw these tombs, that was what I refer to as the Holy Spirit seemed to just fill my body and mind, and I started singing the song, you know, Amazing Grace. How sweet. I felt that God's grace had allowed me to be alive.
His first steps in the cemetery in 79 years were filled with emotions.
Having been in the war and all, you know, a lot of reflection came back at that time.
One prevailing feeling, gratitude.
I was very thankful that I had been chosen, you know, to go back and see where I had been so many years ago, and to think about how many 18, 19-year-old boys were out there in the earth, you know, after coming over, you know, and all was really a mixed feeling.
A native of Louisiana, Reverend Brown was drafted when he was 18 years old. After completing his Army training, his company sailed across the Atlantic.
A lot of fright. There's a lot of water and a lot of gunpowder, you know, flying.
After landing in England, they sailed to France.
I recognized very early on that if we did not take up arms against what was occurring at that time, we wouldn't have America as we have it today. I heard and understood that, and so I was willing to sacrifice my life to do that.
The 599th Quartermaster Laundry Company landed in Normandy just after the D-Day invasion. American soldiers were thankfully in control of the beaches.
I'd rather be free than to die, you know, under the hands of nothing.
During World War II, troops were segregated. African American troops often relegated to labor and service units. Reverend Brown says his treatment in Europe was better than in the U.S., which motivated him.
We had a mindset when we came back to America that we would do everything we could to become educated and change the system. And we're still working on that.
Reverend Brown achieved many goals, getting a college degree and eventually becoming a pastor. While scars from his time at war are still with him, the scars on his heart are the ones that worry him the most.
You know, it was so sad to me to see that we have all of this all because mankind could not get along with itself.
Reverend Brown is passionate about educating kids about the history of D-Day, and he has this request for everyone as we approach the 80th anniversary.
When people think about D-Day, I would like very much for people to say deep down in their soul that we will never have this to happen again. But now I see.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Maria Elena Valores.
This school is on the National Register of Historic Places, and it's right here in Acadiana. We hear all about the history of Our Lady of the Assumption School coming up. Our Lady of Assumption School in Carencro was one of the first schools to be open to African Americans during segregation. News 10's Kai Price spoke with a former student at Our Lady of Assumption who says the school prepared them for their future careers.
The Our Lady of Assumption School here in Carencro still stands as a testament to the resilience and determination of the African American community during the era of segregation. I spoke to Phyllis Roy, who was a student here during the 60s.
They did a good job with education, and the church did a good job of, we wanted to come to church.
The establishment of Our Lady of Assumption Church and School in Carencro marked a significant part of history for the area. In 1925, Father Donlin, with the Order of Holy Ghost Fathers, purchased the land, making it possible for African Americans to attend school from 1st through 7th grade. During this time, Roy says the area was under the separate but equal doctrine, where only coloreds would be able to attend places with signs reading coloreds only. However, she says Our Lady of Assumption School was a place where they could be themselves freely without having to worry about hardships of segregation.
We didn't know we were poor. We knew what not to do in the community also, you know, separate but equal, and we saw the signs, colors only. We knew, but we didn't understand the depth of what it was, because we were safe here.
After segregation was abolished in 1964, Roy says students at Our Lady of Assumption would then begin to integrate with students at Carencro Elementary.
When we got to our English class, which was our first class, you know, our first class for the day, the books they handed out, we had that last year. So we were straight A students. So I guess you can call that AP classes at Our Lady of the Assumption School. We were so advanced.
Roy says former students that attended Our Lady of Assumption School have gone on to become great lawyers, doctors, and engineers. She says she wants to continue to share this history with children in Carencro for them to know where they came from and where they are today.
The elders already know the history. but the young ones don't. How we got here, how we came here, how the church got here, how the school got here, where still stands church. You know, that would be my parting words.
Roy says the school has left a legacy for future generations to understand the importance of their past. In Karen Crow, Kai Price, KLFY, News 10.
Thank you for joining us in honoring Black history. But before we go, I want to remind you all about the African American Heritage Parade set to roll through Lafayette next month. The gala will be March 8th at the Martin Luther King Center, and the parade rolls on March 9th down the Martin Luther King Memorial Parkway. Be sure to save those days. We hope that you enjoyed the stories that were told. We thank you for watching. Have a good evening, Acadiana.